Brothers, remember this. The tongue is small, but its power is great. A single word can uplift or destroy. A Stoic does not speak to be heard. He speaks to convey truth. And often, the wisest thing a man can say is nothing at all. In the modern world, we are surrounded by noise. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants to be right. But an intelligent man, a truly wise man, is measured by what he doesn't say. He understands that restraint is not weakness, it is mastery. A foolish man speaks to impress. A wise man speaks only when it serves a purpose. Here are 5 things an intelligent man never says. When a man says, "That's just who I am," he closes the door to growth. It sounds like a declaration of confidence, but more often, it's an excuse to remain stagnant. The Stoic path is not about staying the same. It is about constant self-examination and refinement. A truly intelligent man does not hide behind a fixed identity. He knows that character is not something inherited. It is something forged daily through choices, discipline, and hardship. The world changes. Life throws us into trials, disappointments, and unexpected outcomes. To survive is one thing. To adapt with integrity and purpose is another. The man who clings to a rigid sense of self will eventually break under pressure. But the man who sees himself as a work in progress, who understands that virtue is earned, not assumed, will bend and endure. The Stoics believed in becoming, not simply being. They wrote not to prove their wisdom, but to sharpen it. Likewise, an intelligent man seeks correction, not comfort. He prefers truth to ego. This phrase is often spoken when someone resists feedback or refuses responsibility. It's a defense mechanism, a way to avoid discomfort. But discomfort is where growth lives. A man who desires mastery must first reject complacency. He must see himself clearly, even if it humbles him, especially if it humbles him. Pride keeps a man stuck. Humility sets him free. If a man truly wants to live with virtue, he must confront his flaws and challenge his limitations. He must replace "that's just who I am" with "this is who I am becoming." The Stoic does not fear change. He welcomes it, because he knows that the best version of himself lies not in comfort, but in continual transformation. To say, "It's not my fault," is to surrender your power. It's an instinctive reaction when things go wrong, when outcomes disappoint, or when the weight of consequence feels too heavy to bear. But from the Stoic point of view, this phrase is not only unhelpful, it is unworthy of a man seeking wisdom and strength. The intelligent man does not seek to deflect blame. He seeks to understand his role in every event, even those beyond his control. This does not mean he takes responsibility for the actions of others, but that he always looks inward before pointing outward. Life is unpredictable. People will fail you. Circumstances will turn against you. Still, your reaction remains your own. You may not be at fault, but you are always responsible for how you respond. When a man blames others, he gives away his agency. He chooses weakness over resilience. The Stoic, by contrast, asks, "What is within my power? What can I do now to move forward with dignity?" Blame is easy. Ownership is difficult, but it is also transformative. When you take full responsibility for your mindset, your behavior, and your growth, you no longer wait for others to make things right. You act, you move, you build. And in doing so, you gain mastery over yourself, which is the only true power in this world. The phrase, "it's not my fault," keeps you stuck in the past. It ties your identity to wounds and injustices. But the intelligent man is not interested in being a victim. He is interested in rising. So, instead of asking who's to blame, he asks what can be done. That is the path of the Stoic. That is the way of a man who chooses strength over self-pity. When a man says, "I already know that," he closes the door to growth and wisdom. This phrase reflects a fixed mindset, a belief that one's knowledge is complete and that there is nothing new to learn. Yet, the Stoics teach us that true wisdom begins with humility, the recognition that no matter how much we know, there is always more to discover. An intelligent man embraces this truth and remains open to learning throughout his life. Claiming to already know something can often be a defense mechanism. It may protect the ego from admitting ignorance or feeling vulnerable. But the Stoic sees vulnerability not as weakness but as a necessary step toward growth. By admitting that he does not have all the answers, the wise man opens himself to new perspectives, deeper understanding, and refinement of his own beliefs. This willingness to listen, observe, and question is the hallmark of intelligence. The world is constantly changing, and so must the mind. Even the greatest minds of history acknowledged the limits of their knowledge. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself to approach every situation with fresh eyes, as if for the first time. This attitude guards against arrogance and complacency, which are the enemies of progress. The intelligent man does not seek to prove he is right. He seeks to become better. By saying, "I already know that," a man risks becoming closed off, rigid, and blind to growth. But by staying teachable, he invites wisdom into his life. He remains curious, humble, and prepared to adapt. This openness is not weakness, but strength. It is the path the Stoic follows. Always learning, always evolving, always improving. No matter how much he already knows. When a man says, "I don't care," it often masks deeper emotions, fear, pain, or indifference born from avoidance. At first glance, this phrase might appear as a sign of strength or detachment. But from a Stoic perspective, true wisdom and strength come from caring deeply, yet not being ruled by emotions. The Stoic does not practice cold indifference. Rather, he practices purposeful detachment. He cares about what is virtuous and within his control, but he does not allow external events or opinions to disturb his inner peace. To say, "I don't care," is sometimes an escape from vulnerability. It's easier to shut down emotionally than to face uncertainty or disappointment. But the Stoic teaches that emotional numbness is not freedom. It is a form of self-imprisonment. The intelligent man acknowledges the importance of emotions as signals, warnings that guide action and reflection. But he does not let them dictate his behavior. He masters his feelings instead of being mastered by them. Caring in the Stoic sense means being committed to values like wisdom, courage, justice, and self-discipline. It means investing energy in what truly matters: character, growth, and purposeful living. Yet this care is balanced by reason. The Stoic accepts that some things are beyond control, and he does not waste emotion on what cannot be changed. This balanced care allows him to remain composed in adversity, empathetic without being overwhelmed, and engaged without losing himself. So when a man claims he doesn't care, it often reveals a struggle to face reality honestly. The intelligent man learns to care with intention and control. He feels deeply but chooses wisely where to invest his energy. This is not coldness, but clarity. It is not apathy, but strength. This is the Stoic way. When a man says, "I'm too busy," he often reveals a subtle avoidance of priorities rather than true constraint. The phrase can serve as an excuse to avoid difficult conversations, personal growth, or emotional work. From a Stoic perspective, time is the most valuable resource a person has, and how a man chooses to spend it reveals what he truly values. An intelligent man does not fall into the trap of using busyness as a shield to deflect responsibility or evade meaningful connection. Stoicism teaches that external circumstances should not dictate our inner character or priorities. Being too busy is rarely about a genuine lack of time. Rather, it is often about a lack of discipline, focus, or willingness to confront uncomfortable truths. The wise man evaluates his commitments carefully, distinguishing between what is urgent and what is important. He understands that to say, "I'm too busy," is to admit a failure in managing his own life according to virtue and reason. This phrase can also reflect an unwillingness to invest time in what truly matters, whether that is relationships, self-improvement, or purposeful endeavors. A Stoic does not prioritize fleeting distractions over lasting value. Instead, He consciously chooses to devote his energy to activities aligned with his principles and goals. Time wasted is a loss that can never be regained, and the intelligent man guards his time like a sacred trust. Saying "I'm too busy" too often may lead to isolation, regret, and missed opportunities for growth and connection. The Stoic encourages us to live deliberately, to carve out space for reflection, connection, and purposeful action regardless of life's demands. True wisdom is found not in constant motion, but in mindful presence. The intelligent man recognizes that being too busy is an excuse to stop living intentionally. He chooses instead to be present, engaged, and disciplined with his time, knowing this is the path to freedom and fulfillment. In silence, in restraint, in conscious speech, a man is revealed. Speak less, mean more, and never forget. What you choose not to say may shape your life more than what you do. Be measured, be intentional, be stoic.